أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن عصبة إن أبانا لفي ضلال مبين اقتلوا يوسف أو اطرحوه أرضا يخل لكم وجه أبيكم وتكونوا من بعده قوما صالحين قال قائل منهم لا تقتلوا يوسف وألقوه في غيابة الجب يلتقطه بعض السيارة إن كنتم فاعلين. We are going through the Tafseer of Surah Yousuf, and inshallah today we're starting from ayah number 8. And we started the discussion last week about Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam's brothers and the mindset that they had and what their thinking was. And inshallah in today's lesson we go into detail about the discussion that took place about what they should do with Yusuf because of the fact that their father loves him and his brother Binyamin so much. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذْ قَالُوا, when they said, meaning when the brothers said. The mention of the brothers took place in ayah number 7, which we discussed last week. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts discussing what was it that they said. When they said, La Yusufu, indeed Yusuf and his brother. So this lam here, La Yusufu, it is classified as lam lil qasm. It is for ta'keed, it is for an oath that basically if you were to translate it another way, I swear by Allah, or we swear by Allah, Yusuf and his brother, ahabbu ila abina minna, they are more beloved to our father than us. Wa nahnu usba, and we are a strong group. Inna abana lafi dhalali mubin, indeed our father, he is in open misguidance. So there's a lot of detail that we need to discuss here. Firstly, why would they have any kind of problem with the fact that Yaqub alayhi salam is loving Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin, the blood brother of Yusuf alayhi salam, because they were born from the same mother? Why would they have that jealousy towards them? Like I said before in previous lessons, this is a very natural thing that pretty much all siblings have, that when they see that their father has more attention or pays more attention towards the newest child of the family, the youngest child, or for whatever reason the attention towards one child is more than the other, so there's always going to be some kind of sibling rivalry and some kind of resentment towards that brother or sister who is getting the most attention. So that's completely natural. The question is also, why did Yaqub alayhi salam have more attention and more love towards Yusuf and his brother? So before we go into that, it's important to understand that there are two kinds of love. One is known as hubbul aql, which is the love of the intellect, which a person purposefully brings into himself and forces himself to have that love instilled into him. Okay? And the example of that is our love for the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? Because the fact is that we've never met the Prophet ﷺ. We've never seen him. The only thing is that we've heard about him, we've read about him, we hear lectures about him, and because of the fact that he is our Prophet, we have the complete love for him that we should. But this is hubbul aql. This is a love which is based on logic, it's based on intellect rather than emotion. It is based on intellect rather than emotion. And the example of that is a saying of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من نفسه. The Prophet ﷺ said that none of you can have true iman until I become more beloved to them than even himself. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was sitting there, said, and this was how brutally honest Umar radiallahu ta'ala and really all the Sahaba were, said, yes, Ya Rasulullah, I can love you more than my family, and I can love you more than my wealth, but more than myself, I'm having difficulty with that. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said the same thing again, that none of you can have true Iman until I become more beloved to him than even himself. So the Umar radiallahu ta'ala who thought for himself, and he thought that this is an issue related to the completeness of Iman, and he then forced himself to love the Prophet ﷺ even more than himself. So from this we understand that that love of the Prophet ﷺ is not an emotional love, rather it is something that we instill into ourselves with the understanding that our Iman is incomplete until we love the Prophet ﷺ more than ourselves, more than our families, and so on. So this is a love of intellect. However, the love for our children, the love for our families, the love for our wealth, it is actually a love of emotion. We emotionally love our children, we emotionally love our families, and because of the fact that we're always interacting with them, we've made effort into having those children, into raising those children, giving them a good education and so on. So anything that you put an effort into, there is this love of emotion associated with that. Now going back to the issue of Yaqub alayhi salam and his love for his children, specifically Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin. The history behind that is that these two, who were born from the same mother, they actually lost their mother while they were very young. And because of this loss, the father, Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, had to replace both the father and the mother. He was the father anyway, but he also had to show them the love of the mother that they were deprived of because of her loss, because of the fact that she passed away. So his loving the children was not based on intellect, rather it was based on this emotion that these two youngsters of mine, they've been deprived of the love of their mother, and this inclination forced him to love these two more than the others. And there are many examples of that in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, that he excused himself. The Prophet ﷺ, he, when he was told that he is supposed to be just between his wives, he said that this issue of love, it is not something that the heart can control. Justice between co-wives is such that you spend equal time with them, you give them an equal amount of money to spend, and equality in all material things that you can. However, love is something which is associated with the heart. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said about this issue that I have done my bit, and I'm paraphrasing the words, I am doing my bit in terms of being equal with the wives. As for the matter of the heart, that is something that I have no control over. And he used to say about, because at that time Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was his co-wife, he said, I love Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha the most, more than anyone else. Okay, so this is again the love of emotion, not the love of intellect. The emotions people cannot have control over. There's a very famous saying in Arabic. In the old days, when a person was asked, Ayu abna'ik ahabbu ilayk, which of your sons are more beloved to you? There's a beautiful saying. The response would be, as-saghir hatta yakbur, the youngest one until he becomes big. So there's a natural tendency that the youngest one, he gets the most love. Okay, that's one answer. Al-ghaib hatta ya'ud, the son who is absent until he comes back. Okay, a person who leaves the country, he may be the biggest, oldest, youngest, it's irrelevant. The one who is absent, he is missed the most until he returns back. And the last answer, al-marid hatta yushfa, the sick person, the sick son, until he becomes well again. So again, when one of the children is sick in the family, until he becomes well again, the whole attention of the family is directed towards that sick child. And la samahullah, God forbid, if the sickness is severe and they have to come in and out of hospitals, what happens is the others, they tend to get neglected. And it becomes very difficult for the other siblings to actually deal with that kind of situation. But again, this saying of the Arabs is, very poignant. It's very powerful that when a person is asked, which of your children is most beloved to you, says the youngest one until he becomes big, the absent one until he returns, and the sick one until he becomes well. Okay, so this is the same thing we can apply to the issue of Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin. Yaqub alayhi salam was not purposefully being unjust with the rest of the sons, rather it was this emotional attachment that he had to Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin that forced him to love them more than the others. There's another story that is related to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu was sitting one day and somebody pointed to a guy who was walking past. Said, look, this is hada qatilu akhik. This is the killer of your brother. He's walking past. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu turned his face away and he didn't want to look at him. The person, he saw this, he noticed, and he came up to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, said, why did you turn your face away? So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, very straightforward again, said, inni la uhibbuk, I don't like you. Why? Because you are فَأَنْتَ قَاتِلُ أَخِي, you are the killer of my brother. The person, he responded back by saying, أَوَ يَمْنَعُنِي عَدَمُ حُبِّكْ لِي أَيَّ حَقٍّ مِنْ حُقُوقِي. The fact that you dislike me, he's saying to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the fact that you dislike me, is that going to prevent you from fulfilling all of my rights? Now he's the Khalifa, right? Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu is the Khalifa. So this person who's the killer of his brother is asking the question that the fact that I killed your brother and you dislike me, are you going to fulfill my rights or not? Or are you going to deprive me of my rights? He said, no, I'm not going to deprive you of your rights. So again, this dislike towards this person is not based upon the fact that he just wants to dislike him. Rather, it's something that cannot be helped. It's something that it's a natural inclination that any person would have who's been wronged, that I will not like that person who's done any wrong to me. And that's why also the Prophet ﷺ, many verses were revealed for the killer of Hamza radiallahu ta'ala. Okay? قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. This verses, according to many Mufassirin, was revealed for the killer of Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and he basically was forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for committing this huge sin of killing the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But despite that, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to tell him that don't come in front of me, because each time you come in front of me, it reminds me of my uncle. So again, natural inclination rather than forcefully having a dislike for a person. There's a difference between the two. So anyway, going back to the story of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu and the killer of his brother, the person, he said to Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, لَكَ أَن تُحِبُّ مَن تُرِيد وَتَكْرَهُ مَن تُرِيد وَلَا يَبْكِي عَلَى الْحُبِّ إِلَّا النِّسَاءِ. He basically rubbed it in a little bit. He said, it's your right to love who you want, and it's your right to dislike who you want, but really, the only people that cry over love are women. Okay, so basically, he gave Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu a dose before he left. Why are you crying over the loss of your brother? Only women cry like that. Okay? And anyway, so the point was that the fact that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he disliked the person, it was not because of any personal thing, personal inclination. Rather, it was because he had wronged him, and that is something that is natural. Going on, they said the children, the sons, they said that Yaqub alayhi salam loves Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin and his brother Binyamin more than us. وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ. We are a group. Usba in Arabic refers to a group of people which are 10. So the Yaqub alayhi salam, he'd become old and he had given the responsibility of looking after the affairs to the brothers. And because of the fact that they were all together, they were working together, they were a group, they felt that their attention and the love of their father should be directed towards them. But when there are 10 people, there's a group of people, the love becomes kind of divided. He loved them equally as a group, and loving them equally as a group basically wasn't enough for them. They wanted attention separately. So Usba can mean a group of 10 people. Usba can mean also a strong group, a group that does work, and this group of brothers were working and taking care of the family affairs after the father Yaqub alayhi salam had retired. Inna abana lafi dhalalin mubin. They finished off the sentence by saying, indeed our father, he is in open misguidance, clear misguidance. Because there are two types of misguidance. One is called dhalal maqsood and one is dhalal ghair maqsood. Dhalal maqsood is when a person who, getting all the proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah, he chooses to reject the Quran and the Sunnah, he chooses to reject Islam. This is one type of dhalala. And the other type of dhalala is dhalal ghair maqsood, which is basically a person, he loses his way, goes into the forest, takes a wrong turn, and he gets lost. So this is an example of dhalal ghair maqsood. So the fact that they were hinting at the father being in some sort of dhalal, it is indicative of dhalal ghair maqsood, misguidance which was not intended, rather than the intended misguidance. Now they made the plan. What was the plan? Uqtulu Yusuf, kill Yusuf. This was the first suggestion that came up. Kill Yusuf, and then they thought, you know what, this is too extreme. And the question is, first of all, why only Yusuf? When in the first sentence they said Yusuf and his brother, they're more beloved to us, to our father than all of us. So then why did they direct their attention towards Yusuf? There are two answers for this. One opinion is that they didn't want to shock the father too much by getting rid of both of them, but so they thought, okay, we'll just get rid of one of them. And the other opinion is that they had heard about the dream, not directly from Yusuf alayhi salam, but from external sources. They had heard about the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam, and their jealousy towards him became more severe, so that's why they decided to get rid of him. So the first opinion was, uqtulu Yusuf, kill Yusuf, and then they decided, okay, this is too extreme, we don't want to kill him. They had the second opinion, awitarahuhu ardan, or throw him into the desert, into some barren land. Okay, so these were the two opinions. And why did they want to do that? Yakhlu lakum wajhu abikum. When that happens, the attention of your father will be directed towards you only. Meaning, the father will start loving you only. وَتَكُونُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ. And after that, after we've done the deed, after we've got rid of him, what we're going to do? We're going to become pious people. Salihin, there are two opinions here, what it means. One opinion is that we're going to make tawbah, we will commit the sin, but after that we'll ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for repentance and we'll become pious after that. The other opinion is, salih basically means to become at ease, okay? To become repaired, you can say. So our misgivings, our jealousy, our hatred towards our brother, it's going to go away, and after that we're going to be good. Internally we're going to be good, and we're not going to have this stress of jealousy anymore. So we're going to become good after that, we're going to become at ease after that. وَتَكُونُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ. You're going to become after that pious or good people, or relaxed people. Now in the course of this discussion, one of them said, okay, you've got two opinions here, killing him or putting him in the middle of the desert. Okay, I think we need to kind of ease up a little bit more. And what was his opinion? قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ. One of them said. So why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not mention who it was? According to some Mufassirin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't mention who it was so that our husnul dhann, meaning our good will towards the rest of the brothers, all of the brothers could be equal. It could have been any one of them. So our thinking about them should be husnul dhann. We should have good intention towards them. We should have good thinking about them rather than having any type of misgiving about them. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't mention the name. However, some Mufassirin have mentioned the name. Qatada says that it was the oldest one. His name was Rubil. Suddi says that it was one of them whose name was Yehuda. And the third opinion is Mujahid's. He said his name was Shem'un, Samuel, Shem'un. These are the three opinions. But irrespective of who it was, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mention the name. So he said, La taqtulu Yusuf. Okay, killing Yusuf, it's a little bit extreme. Don't do that. Wa alquhu, and killing Yusuf, putting him in the desert was tantamount to killing him too, right? Okay, put him in the middle of the desert, nobody can find him, he's going to perish within a few days. So both situations, either directly killing him or putting him in the middle of the desert, means that he's going to die. So what was his opinion? وَأَلْقُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ. Throw him into the darknesses of a well. Ghayaba is the portion of a well which is hidden from human eyes. Ghayabat al-jub. So basically, if you look in, you will look directly at the water, and maybe there are edges around the well that you really never pay attention to. So this is known as Ghayabat al-jub. So throw him inside this well, and what's going to happen? يَلْتَقِطْهُ بَعْضُ السَّيَّارَةِ. Caravans which are going by, they know about these wells. They're going to drop their buckets inside the well, and one of them is going to just draw Yusuf out and pull Yusuf out, take him away, and you'll get rid of him, and also he'll stay alive. So it's going to be the best of both worlds. Okay. So يَلْتَقِطْهُ بَعْضُ السَّيَّارَةِ. Some caravan is going to snatch him up and take him. إِن كُنْتُمْ فَاعِلِينَ. If you are going to do anything. So this end sentence, it indicates that this older brother, he was not even inclined to doing that. But he said, إِن كُنْتُمْ فَاعِلِينَ. If you're going to do anything, then just do this. So he was not inclined towards even doing this. He was kind of hesitant to go along with the plan of the rest of the brothers. Inshallah, we're going to stop here, and we will continue with this next week. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, actually Ramadan is coming up, so we will continue with this inshallah after the month of Ramadan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard.